welcome back to Constructive Conversations, where we help homebuyers ask the right questions when it comes to new construction. Today, we're going to be diving into the important topic that many people overlook, and it's why should I hire a real estate agent when I'm buying a new construction home? I'm Zach Daniel with Victorian Finance.
And I'm Luke Barstow of Biz 3D Space. Builders have sales reps on site, but those reps work for the builder. They don't work for you. Trusted real estate partner, they can protect you and your interests, help you negotiate, guide you through contracts, upgrades, and even construction delays when those happen, which in construction they do. Joining us today is Corey Gilmore, team lead for the CMG Real Estate Group at Capstone Realty. They've helped countless buyers successfully navigate the new construction process. And we're going to uncover why having your own realtor is not just helpful, but essential when you're building new. So, Corey, would you like to just kind of give us a little bit of like your background and stuff, man?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I want to thank you guys for just having me on this podcast. Stephen Guy, y'all's executive producer, has mentioned you guys multiple times, told me a little bit about what you guys were doing here, and I'm just excited just to be here, just to be a part.
Excited to have you, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
awesome. But
Thank you.
for me, man, I've been in real estate now for 12 years. I'm kind of telling my age. Sorry, but yeah, 12 years. I started obviously as just a solo agent in the business. Business got rolling, things got really good for myself, and decided to just start a real estate team. And our team is called CMG Real Estate Group. We've got roughly about 24 agents and 4 really just support staff that work with us. So we stay pretty busy and it's fun. We're all about team culture.
Yeah.
And we kind of run our team like a family. So we call ourselves a CMG family. Our tagline is "You're not just a transaction, you're family." So we try to treat our clients like that as well.
Yeah,
That's awesome,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I guess when you're representing a buyer, whether it be new construction or resale, is there a difference there?
Oh yeah, yes. So in the resale world, things are a little bit more coming from a real estate side and a consumer side. We tell our clients when you buy a resale home, there's just a lot more control that the buyer has. We can control what terms we put in the contract. We can control, when we close, right? Like typically, if it's a resale house, we can close within 30 to 45 days, maybe, right?
Right.
So just a lot more variables that you can control when you're working with a client that's purchasing a resale home. When you are purchasing a home that is a new construction home, there's just a lot more variables that you can't control. One is the builder. They're pretty much going to determine the terms of the contract. Most builders, even from production builders all the way to custom builders, they have their own contract documents that their attorneys have drawn up. And I mean, we can add things and ask to add things in like the additional provisions,
Right.
but we can't change anything.
Generally, the terms aren't
The
changing.
terms are going to be the terms.
Yeah.
Obviously, we go through and read it and explain it, but it's really just is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like with building, there's like we're kind of talking about these 2 separate groups here. We've got track home builder type stuff, and then we got custom building. So, well, I've actually got a custom home building company, and explain to us what are the benefits of having a real estate agent if you're a buyer approaching custom home building. Why should they have a realtor? I'm of the opinion they really should have one.
Sure.
So
Yeah. Honestly, the custom home side is where it gets the most scary.
Yeah.
Because really from a custom home side, the way they do the whole financing is different. So a lot of the custom builders require the buyer to get a construction loan on the property, and that when they get the construction loan, that builder is going to make draws from the loan at certain points of the construction process in order to build the house. Well, the hard part is that before the build starts, the builder gives estimates on what things cost, but obviously we know with inflation and tariffs,
anything
things
can happen.
change, right? So from a consumer standpoint, when there's just so many variables coming from the um the process, you really need somebody to have you help you first of all understand the process, show you like the pros of what it means to build a custom home, show you the cons, prepare you for, okay, what happens if this situation happens during build, like,
Hmm.
you going into it alone. Yes, your builder might explain it to you, but your custom builder is going to be focused on trying to build your home, not preparing you for the different variables that could
Right.
come up.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about that on this podcast. I mean, there's
Yeah.
just so many questions that people go into,
Yep.
and there's no one's there to give you an answer.
Exactly.
And so we're trying to change that narrative and kind of
Yeah.
ask those questions, provide those answers. But
Yeah.
ultimately, that's what a realtor's job is
That's
to
it, man.
be that person in your corner and providing those answers for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I was gonna say, I think one of the things that like we see as a designer, if you got not just any real estate agent, but an educated real estate agent in new construction,
Yeah.
some of the things they can bring to the table, man, like if you're looking for land, like if you don't have land and you're looking for it,
Yeah.
and they know, hey, slope development,
Mm-hmm.
that's I know your budget is my client, and I know slope
Mhm.
development costs more, and
That's
maybe
it.
maybe I'm familiar with square footage numbers. If you got those good relationships,
Yeah.
that realtor can really help set you up for success early on in the land
Yes.
purchase phase.
Absolutely. I recommend, especially with any new construction, but especially on the custom side, getting with the real estate agent prior to talking to a builder, because that agent, especially if they're a seasoned agent, they're going to know which builders to, lean more toward. They're going to know what builders not to use.
mhm.
Got the
But
relationships.
exactly.
Yeah.
And also they're going to, like you said, they're going to be able to know, like, you as a buyer, what your needs are, and kind of help navigate you to the best location to build your house from a land standpoint,
Right.
from a location standpoint. So
Are
Mhm.
you overbuilding for the area, stuff
exactly,
like that, like
Yeah.
for helping you protect
that's
kind of
it.
your investment.
That's
And
it.
that's something that, I run into on the lending side with custom homes is
Yeah,
always appraisal issues. And I
that's
mean, that could
huge.
be
Yeah.
depending on the area and what you want to build, like you could severely shoot your budget
Oof,
just solely on appraisal issues
man,
alone.
I know. And it's sad because I've had people, call me to want to list their home, and it's been a custom build, and it's quite frankly, they just overbuilt for the area to where they
Mhm.
were, when it was time to relist, they did not get the equity that they needed or wanted to, just because of they just overbuilt for the area. So
Yeah.
So, like on the flip side of that, that's like custom building. So
yeah,
on the other side, like production building,
yeah,
you know, what are I guess some advantages of having your own realtor that's representing you rather than maybe a buyer's agent that's on site? Because I get people
yeah,
all the time it's like, oh, I just called, the name on the sign, or I
yeah,
just showed up and talked to that person, and they're going to represent both sides. But
yeah,
what's the benefit of having your own representation there?
absolutely. So I tell people the number one thing is that on-site agent, first of all, represents the best interest of the company that they're working for.
Right.
Mhm.
Now, I know a lot of great on-site agents who they try to take care of the customer no matter what.
Yeah.
But when nobody hopes there's issues down the road, but when issues will arise, and when those issues come, like, you need somebody in your corner to ask those questions and fight for you when the builder says, no, we're not doing that. That on-site agent is not going to fight with their builder to do that for them because they represent the builder,
Right.
Yeah.
versus having like somebody work for the buyer or agent work for the buyer. That agent has no ties to the builder. They're going to make sure that your best interest is is at heart when you're just really throughout the process.
So you're really getting yourself a teammate
That's it.
going into it. Yeah.
The analogy that I give is, would you be on trial for murder and allow the prosecution to represent you?
That's a good one. I
That's,
like
that's a
that.
good
You
one.
would never like let the prosecutor represent you as a defendant. So you need a lawyer, and in that standpoint, a lawyer to argue and defend you as best as you can, right? On your
Mhm.
side. Same thing when working with the new constructions, whether it be um, production builder or custom. You need somebody that's going to solely just have your best interests at heart.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Nice.
we touched on this just a little bit ago, where
Yeah.
most builders are going to have their own sales contracts
Yes.
in place. So,
Mhm.
you know, what should buyers know about this, and how do you kind of navigate those?
Yeah.
Can you change anything in them?
Yeah. The short answer is no. Like,
Yeah.
the builder's contracts, they're rarely what's in that contract and that document. They're rarely going to deviate from it. And I will say the majority of builder contracts in our area are pretty standard.
Mhm.
So there's only a couple of things, key things that I try to look for in a contract, just to really just explain it to my buyer so that they have an understanding. Not necessarily the fact that we can change it, but it's better to understand what that contract is
Right.
saying so that if something does come up, you're not like, well, why is it like this? You already have an idea.
Right.
So what are some things they can change? I mean,
Yeah.
we've talked about change orders before and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So what are some of the items that a buyer can change?
In the contract?
Yeah.
In the
Or
contract?
just,
Yeah.
we've discussed things like incentives or
Yeah.
upgrades.
Yeah.
What are some of those?
Yeah, absolutely. So, things that buyers can change within the contract are really if the builder's negotiated price, you can hopefully get that price. Whatever they're offering, you can hopefully get a change. You can add into the additional provisions, like additional items that you may want. Like maybe the builder's willing to like give free blinds. You want that in the contract.
Mhm.
Maybe they're going to help you pay some closing cost. You want that in the additional provisions in the contract.
Yeah.
Um, maybe there's a lot of times I have clients that go the new construction route because they have a home to sell, and so they want to kind of time it to where their house is closing at the same time the new house is closing. Well, in there we can play with some different contingency language and add that to the contract just to make sure that they're fully protected. If that house doesn't sell, they're not
Mhm.
obligated to buy both homes. So we want to add language like that. So
Okay. Um,
One of the things that, like, as a builder, I find pretty helpful is like having a realtor that knows what they're doing in new construction and stuff.
yeah,
It's super, super helpful for us because, like, it's a third party
yeah,
that doesn't have emotions tied up in the project.
yeah,
And so, when they do change orders and we're like, hey, we're going to charge for that,
yeah,
and this is why. Well, they just hear a builder going, I'm going to charge you more money.
yeah,
And then you got that realtor to come alongside and go, hey, listen, like, you explained this to me a whole bunch that
yeah.
you did want this, and
Mhm.
they're saying it's an upcharge. This is why. It's just a somebody that doesn't have emotion, like an
Yeah.
emotional charge about the
Sure.
project
Yep.
that can help explain it away.
Facilitate.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when it comes to change. And just so the audience knows why builders charge like change order fees, and when you go to try to change something, they try to charge you for it.
mhm.
And that's mainly because most builders, when you go through your design selection process, they order everything at one time. So they've already paid for it up, especially if you're working with the production builder.
Yeah.
Really only when you're working with the production builder. But those things have been already ordered, paid for. If there is a change, then the vendor actually charges the builder to change that item
Yeah.
because that item has already been in basically.
So it's more of a passive fee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
So, have you ever helped a buyer in a bad situation with a builder before?
yes,
And so what was
absolutely, man.
Hmm.
This story, anytime somebody asks me that question, it stands out. So I won't say the name of the builder because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. But I was working with the client, and she was building with the production builder. And with production builders, they have their own floor plans that you can choose from.
it? Mhm.
But within each floor plan, like you can make some structural changes. Like at least this builder allowed you to make some structural changes. So all is good. We look at the plans, we sign off on the plans. Everything is, looking good. Everybody's on the same page. Well, fast forward 3 months from contract, um, I go to just walk the house for the client, and I typically like to walk the house with the plans.
Yeah.
And I go upstairs, and the entire upstairs is a different layout than what is on paper. So I'm like, well, this isn't right. Something's up. So I call my client. I say, hey, you have some time in the next day or two to meet. I just want to make sure I'm looking at this right and making sure we're all on the same page. So she's like, okay, perfect. When can you meet? So we met the next day. And lo and behold, I'm looking at the plans, and they built the wrong upstairs. Like she
Oh,
wanted a
gosh.
different layout upstairs. They did, I think, let's just call it
Probably did that.
layout A was built, and she wanted layout B.
Yeah.
And layout B was what we had. So obviously we contacted the construction manager. The houses had already been framed, and it hadn't been sheetrocked yet, but it was already pretty much framed up.
Right.
So I called the construction manager, say, hey, I think we got a problem. There's an issue with the layout. He says, okay. He meets us at the job site. And he says, oh, man, we've never done this before. It's wrong. Let me call my boss. He calls his boss, and lo and behold, the owner of the company actually wanted to bring us in to meet.
Mm.
At this point, this is pretty unusual. Like the owner, president of the company wants to meet with the buyer agent.
Yeah,
What's
that doesn't
happening?
happen.
So in my brain, I'm like, something's up. I'm thinking, guys, y'all got it wrong. Tear it down and build it right.
Yeah.
So we go up to meet with the owner, or the president of the company. He's first apologetic. He says, hey, I'm sorry. There was a mistake in the layout. But at this point, we don't want to change. Like basically trying to get us to accept the house.
Oh,
He says,
man.
hey, uh, gave this, crappy excuse of, but I, being there with my client's freaking out because she's like, this is my home. What's going on? And I said, no, 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 sir. That's not how this is going to work. I said, we've all agreed upon this plan. And, obviously I brought my plans or brought her plans. And he says, well, you can either take it or leave it. And that threw me off because I'm like, whoa, okay, this is how you guys want to do business. And I asked my client to step out the room, and I pretty much told that builder exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
So by the end of it, long story short, I talked to my client, and I told my client, like, listen, if it were me, I would back out of this contract. I know you want this house, but if they're gonna act like this at this stage, what's it gonna be?
No
like?
telling what you're going to get at the end of it.
Exactly.
No telling.
You get the wrong cabinets in there. and it's
Exactly.
like,
Exactly.
Oh, well.
You just have to take everything at that point.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So I said, if you tell me right now that you want to back up this contract, I will walk back in that office and get you every dime of your deposits back.
Yeah.
Because in that contract, it says specifically
Oh, yeah.
that deposits are non-refundable.
Mhm.
But I said, I'm gonna get you every dime back. She says, Corey, I trust you. I'm upset. I don't really like the way they're doing business either, but I want my money back. So I walked back in there, and lo and behold, we got every dime back, and we got out of that contract.
Well, and for the audience here, that means he didn't get a commission either. And that's like true client representation. That's what you want, is somebody in your corner that's going to back you, no matter where the money lands on something.
Absolutely.
And as a realtor, by doing that, that's ensuring trust in a client and referrals down the road and all kinds of stuff.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So, like, I guess you answered a lot of these. So, attending like builder meetings, doing the walkthrough. What's kind of a standard practice for you as an agent? Like, what do you do in new construction?
Yes. So I definitely teach our team that we are first of all, every contract appointment, we want to be at the design center appointment. We want to be at every walkthrough. That's mandatory.
Yeah.
Just because, again, we want to make sure if there's anything that needs to be signed or if there's anything that's said, that, we want to hear everything. And that's definitely one way we're able to really go to bat for our clients if things go south. but beyond that, we try when construction is being when construction is happening, we try to go to the job site at least once a week just to check
Okay.
on the property.
That's awesome.
Most of our clients are going themselves as well because they're
Mm,
excited.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
But this is most of the time, this is their first time doing this. They don't know what to look for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just happening, and they're like, "This is awesome." But we're trained. We've done this a ton of times. We're trained to see like, "Hey, something's off about this," or
Mhm.
we may want to ask the construction manager, questions about this. And not saying we always tell our clients like, "Listen, building a home is not a perfect process.
Mhm.
Like there's gonna be
There's going to be
mistakes.
minor defaults too. I
They're
mean,
building the house.
yeah.
We gotta let them build a house, but that doesn't mean that we can't have our checks and balances as we go through the process, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Shoot, man, as simple as knowing that you need to contact the construction manager for a
Yes.
question. Like,
Yeah,
a lot of clients they'll get timid and it's like, okay, I'm just not going to say
same
anything,
thing.
and
Yeah,
then they're unhappy with the product
right.
that's hurting a builder's reputation, whether it
Yeah.
be custom or track. And it's like,
Mhm.
man, if you had just said something, we could have changed this small thing,
That's
and it
it.
wouldn't have been no big deal.
Right.
Just knowing that they can communicate.
That's it. Absolutely.
So how do you kind of prep those buyers for, the possibility of delays? I mean, construction,
Yeah.
it's not a perfect process. You're
Sure.
trying to pick a point
Yeah.
6 to 9 months out.
Yeah.
It's almost an impossible target to hit.
Yep.
I've had plenty of clients call me, they got the moving truck in the driveway
It's
and
not done.
yeah, and it's not done yet. And
Yeah.
what do you do? So
Yeah.
how do you work around those?
It's all about setting expectations with the
Mhm.
buyer. So if the builder tells us it's going to be 8 months, I tell our clients to plan for 8 to 10 months. Like
Mhm.
have that 2 month buffer.
Yeah.
Because anything can happen. It's not even just things that the builder did wrong and have to correct the mistakes. I mean, you're dealing with weather,
Supply.
supply issues
Mhm.
potentially. So, and most, I would say, especially production builders, on the production side, they are pretty good at hitting their dates, because they want to get that house built as fast as they can in order to, because they're holding all
Absolutely.
the risk.
One that control a lot of their, maybe not their supply line, but they control a lot of their workforce.
Yep,
So they're
exactly.
just moving. They're moving their crews. It's like,
Exactly.
hey, you get over there
It's an
today,
assembly
kind of
line.
thing. Yeah.
Yep. If you're doing a custom home, I I always like to do a 3 to 4 month buffer. Maybe sometimes, depending on the custom builder, maybe even a 5 to 6 month buffer. So if they tell us a year, it could be 18 months.
Right.
Mhm.
Just because that from a um, custom home standpoint, like there's way more variables, and for sure that builder doesn't have control because he's got his crews, but it's depending on what you are putting in your home, there's different vendors that he may not have worked with. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
he's kind of like quoting you a lead time that he thinks, but the lead time on this new vendor that he's never worked with could be a lot different than what he expected.
Yeah. And I mean, all builders are not made the same, right? You got
Right.
some builders that have orders built and are
Yeah.
executing them as phases are being done. You got
Yeah.
some of them that let people still pick things out halfway through the
Yeah.
process. And if I'm
Absolutely.
waiting on you to pick a countertop, I can't
That's
order the
it.
countertop.
That's
So
it.
that
Yeah.
it drags it out
It
quite a
drags it
bit.
up. So yeah.
Well, so when it comes to new construction, I guess regardless of production or custom,
Mhm.
who's paying your commission? Is it the buyer or is it the builder?
Yeah. So we'll start on the production side.
Okay.
That side's pretty easy. I would say 99.9% of production builders are going to pay the real estate agent's commission.
Mhm.
Honestly, I've been doing this 12 years. I've never had a time where they didn't. So we're betting 100% from it. But I'm sure there's some variables out there that
Sure,
they
sure.
didn't
Mhm.
work out like that. So I don't want to say 100%. But for us, we're betting 100% where that production builder is going to pay the buyer's agent commission.
Mhm.
Now, on the custom side, it's a little different. So when you are meeting with a custom builder, his quote, because you're gonna basically he's gonna give you a quote on everything. In
Yeah.
his quote, he's going to um, factor in the commission.
Yep.
So the commission is so whatever number he gives you, just know that he's added the commission to that.
Yeah.
So yes, you're not paying out of pocket technically,
It's
but
the
it
finance.
is in the cost of the house.
Mhm.
At what point on custom construction are you getting paid? Are you getting paid on the front end, like draw number one, or
Yeah.
you getting paid draw like the last one?
That for us, we like to, if we can have control over it, we like to drop the contract. We're not getting paid until the end. But I know with custom, it's kind of the Wild West. You can set it, you can create that contract
Mhm.
or add additional provisions to that contract to get paid on draw number one. Actually, I know there's a semi-custom builder here in town that does have their customers do construction loans, and they pay the commissions out at the
Draw
time.
number one.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't. I mean, there's no wrong way, but for us, the way we work, we want to see it all the way through, like before we get paid.
I
And
can see as a builder, like if you didn't want the agent
Yeah.
poking around the entire thing, you're like, yeah, you know what?
We
I
pay
want to
you.
pay you.
Yeah.
Draw number one. You can go home.
Yeah,
just
I got
hang
it.
out.
Yeah,
Don't worry about
exactly.
coming.
exactly. Yeah.
So, in-house lenders. I mean, we've talked about it
Yeah.
here before, and even
Yeah.
some future episodes. We'll talk more about it. But in-house lenders with production builders specifically, is it always the best interest for the buyer to use those, or should they shop around?
First of all, I always tell buyers to shop,
Mhm.
because even if you plan on going with the in-house lender and you get a quote from an out an outside lender, you can always try to get that in-house lender to match or beat it.
Mhm.
And so if you don't shop it, you never have an opportunity to try to get your terms competitive.
Yeah.
But second, from a standpoint of like, did you ask me should you use?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it just depends on your situation. So a lot of the times the builders, especially production builders, they have incentivized they incentivize people to use their in-house lender. So they may say, if you use our in-house lender, then we'll pay all of your closing costs, or we'll pay a portion of your closing costs.
Mhm.
And that typically tries, entice buyers to use their in-house lender. Now, what some people don't know, and depending on the in-house lender, is that cost of whatever incentive that they're giving you is built onto the loan.
Yeah.
So they may give you like a quarter of a point higher in your rate and say, yes, we're going to pay all of your closing costs, but then like it's your rate's higher.
Yeah.
So technically you're paying for
So,
the
I've worked in my career, I've worked
Yeah.
for a couple of different builders
Yeah.
with their in-house mortgage company.
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, most of the time that is the case
Yeah.
where if they're paying closing costs, the mortgage company is just increasing
Building it in somewhere.
somewhere.
Some fee.
Or if they're not, then both companies, although they operate as separate entities,
Yep.
are still under the same main umbrella. And
Yep.
so they're just, moving money from one balance sheet to the other
Next.
balance sheet,
Yeah.
and it's a wash for them.
That's it.
But
Yeah.
most of the time, it's just
Yeah.
built into the rate.
Yep.
So I've always encouraged people to shop, even when I
Shop it.
worked for a mortgage company and
Yeah.
with a builder.
Yeah.
Realtors would ask me if it's a great incentive or should they shop.
Yeah.
And chances are that the mortgage company has enough margin built in
hmm
because they've increased that rate that
Yeah.
if you do shop with another lender,
They can't.
they
come
can
back.
usually come back and match.
Yeah.
But I've also discovered that most of those mortgage companies do not have the flexibility and product that a lot of other mortgage companies
That's
have.
it. Yes, you're only if you go with the in-house lender, there's only a few products that they can offer you, right?
Mhm.
Versus, yes, you're getting an incentive here, but if you go with an outside lender, then they may have a little bit more flexibility on their products, so you're actually getting the better deal
Mhm.
going with the outside lender. And then again, I always recommend if the builders offer and some type of closing cost incentive, go to the outside lender and see if they can match it or beat it as well.
Mhm.
Right.
So again, you always want to weigh your options when it comes to financing. And really, and again, this is why it's important that you do hire an agent, because one builder's lender will give you, what they call an estimated closing sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of buyers, that looks foreign, and all those different fees, like you wouldn't even know. It's kind of you're just looking at that. What's my
Yeah,
payment?
what's the bottom number?
Yeah.
What's the payment?
That's it. But when you're buying a house, you're paying for it over the life of however long you're gonna live there. So that those costs and those fees and that rate matters. So again, when you hire an agent, we're able to, you know, help you compare one one fee sheet to the next fee sheet to really kind of help you understand which one is going to be the best for your situation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, as we kind of wrap it up, like I guess last question here.
Yeah.
What are like three things that you do as an agent that helps make the whole process less overwhelming? Because we know new construction, there's
Yeah.
1,000 decisions,
Yeah.
and then you always hear somebody at the end, "Well, I'll never do that again." You know, what can we
Yeah.
do, and what do you guys do to prevent that?
Yeah. So first one is the most important one is just managing expectations. Before we even look at production builders or custom builders or just new construction in general, like we like to sit down and have just a buyer's consultation to explain the process.
Mm-hmm.
A buyer that's knowledgeable and understands the process is a buyer that's going to be happy in the long run. So even if things go south, there's this comfortability of knowing what things could happen or what things may happen in the process, that when they do arise, there's not there's no panic because you have been told that this
You're
can
prepped and ready.
Absolutely. And we've
Yeah.
talked about that before. We're like, anybody who always says that I'm never buying a house again, it's
Yeah.
because they had a terrible experience.
Exactly. And we tell our clients, just to continue to answer your question, like from a new construction standpoint, like you go and make just when you go to look at the build during the process, like just go to make sure and look at things, make sure you're happy with everything. Let us worry about the nitty gritty, in the weeds things. So you're not having to stress over that. Now, obviously, if you are concerned about something, bring it to us and we'll at least go fight with the builder. You don't have to do that. All you have to do is express your opinion and let us know how you feel, and we'll be kind of your mouthpiece.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So yeah, I think that's all really good information, and having that team member to back you up as you
Yeah.
kind of get into stuff is awesome.
Yes, sir.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, as we wrap up, buying a new construction home should be exciting, but it's also full of contracts, deadlines, decisions that can all feel overwhelming. And that's why having the right realtor by your side will make a huge difference. So,
Yes.
thanks, Corey, for sharing with us today. If you're considering building or buying a new construction, you don't have to go at it alone.
Yes.
Reach out to a trusted realtor and they will put your interests first. So, thanks for tuning in to Constructive Conversations. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to share with someone who's thinking about building or buying a home. And on the next episode, we're going to kind of dive in deeper with what is a designer. And we're going to talk about the difference between what a designer, a draftsman, an architect, and even an interior designer is. So thanks for listening, and until next time.